Hello, and welcome to Tech to Tech presented by Kaizen, where we will explore common cleaning questions and answers. This session has been pre-recorded and will include additional FAQs related to this specific topic at the end of the presentation. We hope it is 15 minutes well spent. Let's get started. I would like to introduce Kaizen Zone Shawn Varney.
Thanks, William. Hey, everybody. So I'm here today to talk to you guys a little bit about matching your soil to your cleaner. It's one of the most important steps in any process is how we get the boards clean, right? So questions to ask when trying to pick the best chemistry. What am I trying to clean off? Am I trying to clean off flux? Am I trying to clean off solder paste? Is there oils, adhesives? And each one of those categories have their own uh, area too as well, where flux might have no cleans and whatnot. So there's a ton of different things to clean off. We just want to know what materials we're going with. Will the substrate have any issues? So your boards, are they going to be water sensitive? Maybe they're made of multiple layers. Maybe you have to think about delamination of those layers. Um, Coloring. Maybe the board is made out of certain dyes or materials, and we're just more sensitive and color prone to changing and lighting, whether the board's getting lighter in color or it's getting darker in color. Spots are another thing definitely to worry about and watch for on that substrate. Are we worried about label compatibility? We There's peeling of labels, and we have the ink wearing off the labels, where maybe the ink stays, but the label peels off and that adhesive doesn't work very well. Or maybe the adhesive stays really well, the label stays, but the ink washes away, like you'll see in the picture below on the right hand side. Just know that it might not always be the cleaning chemistry's problem, but it might be a process beforehand affecting that outcome. Meaning, let's say an operator puts the sticker on crooked, right? So they've got to peel it off and straighten it back out. That could affect whether that label actually stays on there or not. Has nothing to do with the label. It has nothing to do with the chemistry that you use, but an actual operator error. Or maybe someone's got really oily hands or lotion that they're putting on the board accidentally before they put one of those labels on. Are there sensitive components? Meaning not everything can get wet, right? So they're not watertight. They might need to be covered with a cap. There might be a fan or a capacitor or whatnot that you need to cover up that's not completely watertight. Maybe you're worried about the markings on the components itself, actually wearing off of the component because they have markings identifying which manufacturer and whatnot. So are you worried about small standoffs? So fine pitch parts and whatnot, like VGAs and PTPs and QFPs. Those are definitely, as technology gets more advanced, our boards keep getting smaller and smaller, right? So our standoffs getting shorter and shorter. So we want to make sure that we know that we have a really small uh, standoff for fine pitch parts. What machine am I cleaning with? So am I using an inline machine? Am I using a batch machine? Am I using some kind of immersion or maybe immersion with ultrasonics? Where the inline machine is probably your best. It's like a 20-foot long machine for say, uh, has where the part moves through it and the machine stays still. Where a batch machine, the parts stay still and the machine kind of does the agitation. Definitely inline's your best for your process on this for cleaning because it has the most adjustability. What level of clean am I looking for? You have some basic testing, as in like rose test, which tests the whole board. You have chromatography. You have SIR, or you have just a visual test. Um, SIR by far is your best for testing to see the level of clean. Once you know what you're cleaning, that soil or that dirt, match it up with a cleaning agent. So it's a very simple rule to go by is likes dissolve likes, right? You want to stay in the same category. So there's three options when you get into the chemistry. So you have aqueous based, which is water based. You have semi-aqueous, which is a blend, and then you have solvents. Just keep in mind, where do the soils go once you've cleaned them off of your board or whatnot? Do they dissolve in the cleaner? Meaning, does the cleaner itself absorb it into, and it can cut? transport it around? Or maybe after it cleans it off, does it fall in the bottom of your immersion tank or whatnot, or wash? Do you have a filtration system on what you're doing? Can you capture it that way? Is that the type of soils that you want to entrap in a maybe a sock filter or whatnot, then on a recirculation pump? If the wrong chemistry is chosen for the requirements, it may not completely solubilize the soils for their testing and redeposit it back on the substrate or board. So we want to make sure you're always watching that bath life, right? So there's a testing that you can do called NVR, non-volatile residues. NVR is a test that you can do with that bath life, and it'll tell you how loaded it might be. And that way you can tell if you need to drain and refill with new, that bath's kind of expired, right? So the next stage would be testing the process. There's types of testing. You have a Hansen test. That's kind of like an in-lab thing. You'll see on the bottom right of your screen here, where let's just say you're cleaning solder paste. Solder paste, a little bit goes in each one of the tubes. Then you'll add different chemistries in there, and then you'll let them dissolve and shake it up and see how well. Uh, and that might help you with your testing to pick too. There you can do a bench style, a beaker test with the substrate. If you want to put the board in there instead of just having the soil by itself, you want it on the component. Machine testing with components. You could do that on the production line or in a lab too as well. Um, that would be a great way to show you exactly your process and how well it's going to clean off. Verify that the cleaning agent is compatible with the machine. That's huge, right? So maybe your machine's made out of stainless, or maybe it's made out of polypro. Make sure that chemistry is compatible with those type of components, and you want to partner with your manufacturer on that. Comes down to some of your final decision, right? So once you've identified that soil, you've matched it to an appropriate cleaning agent, and you finalize testing. Now you can select some of the best cleaning process and chemistries, considering some of the following here. What's the best cleaner for the cost? Let's say you have 5 chemicals that clean really well, and you can't decide which one's the best one because they all meet your criteria. So cost might run that factor, right? One chemistry might be twice as much as the other style. So keep that in mind definitely when you're picking on your budget. Do I have EPA restrictions? EPA restrictions, so your local government, or maybe nationwide or at night or country, can it go down the drain? All your waste. Do you have VOCs that you need to concern about in the area and you need a stiffer test? So definitely keep those in mind. See your local codes and whatnot, and your chemistry partner can always help out with that too. So you go to the EH&S side, right? Concerns for the operators. That's usually your in-house, right? Environmental health and safety. Or are they going to try and require for you to use gloves, masks, goggles? Do we need ventilation in that area? You want to check that, see what EH&S concerns you might have or restrictions you have in your plant. Product availability and storage. This is huge, right? With all the process and supply chain shortages and whatnot. You want to make sure that you're not picking something that is going to be banned maybe next year, or there's a supply chain on. So that could be on your decision of those 5 chemicals we were talking about, not only cost, but availability and floor space, right? So maybe you can't have a 20-foot long inline wash. You can only have a batch cleaner, or you can't use a big 55-gallon drum. You need a 5-gallon drum of your chemistry. Definitely want to keep that in mind. Moving towards the end here with some of our frequently asked questions. So, how do I know I picked the best chemistry, uh, or cleaner for my application? So, the best way is test, 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 test. So we talked about a little bit about like Rose testing, how it tests to the general board, and your best testing is the SIR, because that not only does the board, it does down into component level too as well while you're testing. So SIR is probably your best way to know that you got the best cleaner. Question 2, how do I know my cleaning solution's safe? So you want to work with your EH&S, you want to work with your local codes and see what your restrictions might be. You want to partner with your manufacturer too as well of that chemistry, and they can give you SDS sheets So there's a lot of information out there to make sure you meet your requirements of if it's safe for the operators and down the drain and environment. Question three, does the chemical work with my machine? So that's a great question. You want to always make sure that that chemical is not going to eat away at your machine or whatnot, or break anything else down, seals, pumps, stuff like that. So make sure you partner with the actual manufacturer of the machine and your chemistry provider, and you can figure out that question really quite fast. Question four, any way to do testing without taking down the production line? And the answer is yes. So you can do, off in lab testing and stuff like that. Your manufacturer of the machine might actually have a lab that has one of those machines you can test on and set your parameters on and whatnot. For example, Nashville, our headquarters for Kaizen, they have a big lab and the analytical side, and we can set up almost any washer inline batch to your parameters and figure out what you need. That way, there's no down production time. Question five, why can't I clean with water? So the easiest answer is it doesn't always come out as clean, and it affects your longevity of that product too as well. So testing will tell you if cleaning with water is enough, which it usually is not. You want to go into maybe the SIR testing, but if you're just trying to wash off big particles and whatnot, then water will work. But if you're trying to get longevity of test boards and clean flux off and whatnot, you will definitely need a chemistry added to that. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to William. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Sean. And thank you all for watching this Tech to Tech session. If you'd like to discuss this topic further or have any questions not answered in the session, please contact your local Kaizen regional manager or send an email to tech at kaizen.com, and we will have someone follow up with you as soon as possible. Do you want to have exclusive access to future content sent directly to your inbox? Or do you know someone who would benefit from these sessions? If the answer is yes. Just go to tech by Kaizen.com, fill out the subscription form. And if you like this video, be sure to follow us on our social media platforms for more expert cleaning content.